All right, what's up, everybody, and welcome on back to our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. Make sure everybody can hear me loud and clear. Hopefully not too loud, hopefully very clear. Great to see everybody, though. Streaming across social media, live on Facebook Live and YouTube. Great to see everybody. Of course, all of us right here in the trading room. Pat, David, Amy, Stefan, you guys are rolling in way too fast for me. Loud and clear, though, unanimous from all. Perfect. All right, guys, so let's begin. Let's hop right into it. Nikola right away making a strong move up going into the afternoon, ended up popping, of course, right away at the market open. So we'll at least go over this to begin. This is like Fausto's pet project here. He ended up calling the stock out well before the squeeze up, breaking all-time highs all the way up towards $90. So we are focused on this actually more as a swing trade compared to a day trade initially. And of course, with as much as it's moved up all the way up towards 90, almost $100, it ended up diving right back down. So it's been a really volatile trade since. And with that, we've been following this more on the day trade side. So, at least after the market opened up, we ended up seeing this like pop right out of the gate, held off right at 32. Even when it broke higher from 32, it was really nasty, pretty shaky, ended up pulling back, still made a higher low, but, dived off down to 31.50. From there, ended up beginning its move up. So once it rebroke 32, ended up making the clean run that we were expecting. So, very nice run. Of course, as you can see, up to 35, a 3-point run. I'm going to check Benzinga. I didn't really look to care for the news earlier on this trade, but at least with this on the board right now, what's the news on this? Not much, at least nothing new, no new news. Nikola shares trading higher. Stock continues to be volatile during its May IPO and amid investor EV interest. That's it. So, we've been following this trade alongside the other EV stocks like NIO, Solo. I think there's like one or two more, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was the EQ, if I'm not mistaken. That might be the other one. Workhorse, if I'm not mistaken, is EV related. So there's been a bunch that we've been trading. But yeah, either way, Nikola, we're going to put this right away on our list going into the afternoon. I'll tell you, as much as this popped, and I know a few of us did really well on this trade, the star in the trading room, our focus at least today, has kind of been on Riot and Mara. It's kind of like sister stock, both blockchain affiliated stocks. Let me ask, anybody here know what blockchain is? Here in the chat board, in the trading room? Anybody familiar with blockchain? Anybody know what blockchain means? Pat, you do. Lori, all right. What is it? Because I'll tell you, I don't know the first freaking thing. It goes to show that we don't really care much about the news. We care about the volume. We care about the momentum. The only thing I know about blockchain is that it's the technology that drives Bitcoin. That's as much as you'll get out of me. All right. So where I'm going to get to is, and you've seen myself and Fausto reference this in the past during our meetings here, but the last time Bitcoin made its move back in 2017, 2018, well, Riot, blockchain stock, it says it right in the name. We ended up trading the stock at the time. It was like a $5 stock, ended up taking off all the way to damn near 50. Right? So, with that, we've been trading this stock more on than off of late, but we've had our eye on this trade for quite some time. Anytime you tend to see Bitcoin make a very sharp move, then, the other stocks that are affiliated with blockchain, at the time it was Riot, Mara, and then DPW. We'll get to Mara at least in a moment. But, whenever we see a sharper move within Bitcoin, we should expect to see some traction on these stocks. Not to say they're carbon copy. If anything, if you guys have been following this afternoon meeting in the past, and if you've heard me call out Riot, you've heard me say that, this stock in particular normally doesn't make an afternoon run. If anything, we've seen this stock move with Bitcoin to a degree, but going into the early afternoon, it really dies off. It fizzles out, and not much to my surprise right now, we're seeing this happen as we speak. So yeah, for right now, Riot ended up, or I should say for right now going into the afternoon, I don't know if I'll put this on our list, ended up making a huge run earlier, held the support that we had called out at the time right off 245 to 250. That was the range that we were calling out at the market open. Low of the day was 247. We'll be going over this trade, if anything, guys, live inside our workshop tomorrow, Traders Talk. We had done that on social media like 2 or 3 weeks ago. We do that every week live inside our trading room. So we'll look to do that as as normal going into tomorrow. But yeah, we'll go over this Riot trade, steady trend all the way up towards 308, the high of the day. Had a real tough time, of course, trying to break higher, as you could see. Riot, and then the other one, actually, I think this one ended up doing a bit better percent-wise, at least after the open, the Mara trade. ended up seeing this stock hold support very nicely off the pre-market lows, 128, 127 at the time. Ended up moving up very nicely from there. You can see very similar move. Mara ended up making a sharper pop going into the early afternoon there off 150. You can see Riot at the time made a lower high. It tried peeking its way back up towards that 308, but died off. Mara is still kind of holding strong to a degree, but at this point, I feel like the stock has just exhausted itself out. When Bitcoin wasn't running, this was last week, Bitcoin was not running back on Wednesday last week, at the time at least. So, it does go to show Mara ended up moving when Bitcoin didn't. So they're not directly, the same. They're not going to, run carbon copy. But any sharper move on Bitcoin, I would expect to see, a bit of traction, a bit of movement on both of these stocks. All right, so at least for right now, we're going to put neither on our main list, but I wanted to go over those to begin. All right, getting some answers here on the chat board just on blockchain. So I appreciate you guys letting me know, because I would like to know, be more educated on that. Bonnie says, blockchain is an open distributed ledger that can record transactions between two parties in a verifiable and permanent way. All right, so I'm going to need to do some research on that if I really want to sound like I know what I'm talking about here, right? I mean, here's the thing. Like I just said before, though, guys, I don't care about the news as much. I care about the momentum, the volume, the support resistance shown from level 3. So, we aced both of these trades earlier today, and we'll go over both of them at least inside our workshop tomorrow. All right, so I'll tell you with that in mind, aside from Nikola, aside from Riot and Mara, I think there was only one other stock that we did pretty well on. Otherwise, it was as Monday will get. And I had said the same exact thing at the end of last week for Friday. The outliers of the week, you don't really expect to see too much market-wise, company-wise. There's always the chance. But, this morning, for instance, and today in general, on my earnings calendar that I have in front of me, I only had one stock written down across the board for today. I'll tell you, the whole rest of the week, Tuesday through Friday, even on Friday, we have like a whole list of companies reporting. But the rest of this week is going to be really action packed. We have an FOMC meeting that will conclude on Wednesday afternoon. So there's a lot to look into. All right, so at least for right now, we'll look to go from top to bottom across the gainers and losers list. The other one I wanted to mention was CAPR. Where is that on our list here so far? Capper. Ooh, it's not on the top of the gainers side here, or at least I don't see it. Maybe it's under my nose, but let's take a look at CAPR quickly. I probably would have found it if I just scrolled down more, but either way, this was the one that we did pretty well on going into the afternoon. Otherwise, ended up making, of course, a big pop. You could see held support higher lows around that 8 level. It really began to fill in sideways, a nice pennant across the morning, higher lows, lower highs. From there, whereas the volume died off, I would have expected this to fail and for this to really break down. Ended up proving me wrong. Popped. More importantly, ended up holding support right from past resistance off of 820 and 825. Moved up very nicely from there. Still holding strong near the highs. So that part I actually do like for the afternoon. Maybe we'll come back to this because I would like to go from top to bottom now at this stage. I'll put this alongside the Riot, the Mara, but maybe this one above all of them we'll look to focus on here. All right, let's see what else we can get though otherwise. So we'll go from top to bottom, gainers to losers, just go from price here. Oh yeah, the MNOV trade, that's right. I'll get into that too. So we did pretty well on that trade, a few of us. That was more of a level 5 trade, empty order book, big spread, very thin orders scattered across the bid and the ask, kind of like you're seeing right here, WHLM. Ended up making a nice run up earlier today. I did not partake in this. It looks like it got halted a few times, at least a couple of times on the way up, and then from there dumped off afterwards. I'll check out the news on this trade for it to be up 192%. I'd like to just at least say, out of curiosity. Of course, Benzinga Pro. This thing's been slacking. As good of a program as this thing is. I don't really have a news snippet or a headline on this trade, guys. If there's anything that you guys see, let me know. I mean, there doesn't have to be news to see a stock squeeze up or run up, but yeah, nothing really in particular so far that I see. All right. Either way. For right now, I like the range. I like the volume the stock is trading going into the afternoon. Hopefully it continues off the pop from 10. I would look to put your focus heavily on 50-cent levels and whole numbers, if anything. But yeah, I mean, this stock we'll put on our list now at this point. WHLM. Peter from YouTube chiming in. He says that is a level 5 stock for Cyber Trading University. Interesting. In terms of volatility, like we categorize our stocks in terms of volatility. I mean, you're looking at a stock that has a fluctuating spread anywhere from 3 cents to, not to say 30, but 15 cents I've seen at least during this time. All right, and the same to be said, MNOV, this thing just ended up maintaining a much steadier trend across the run-up today. Ended up breaking out shortly after the market opened up, low volume, but ended up pushing up higher. We ended up seeing more volume come in off the breakout from 8. From there, squeezed up to just about 10, got halted at one point there. Ended up squeezing up higher, of course, but now at this point, beginning to pull back. So, I mean, yeah, given across the day today, the range, the volatility, the volume altogether here being traded, stocks trading about 235,000 shares per minute. It's a crazy amount. You know what? How about this? We'll do a quick little test. I don't have the float on me here. Actually, I can just do a quick scan. We'll see. So, oh, maybe that's why. Okay, I have to fix my scanner here. Is it on here? On the gainer side here, I don't know, maybe this isn't working. I don't know why this is only showing 37% right now. I might have to fix this. I wanted to see what the float was on this trade. I was able to find it on my TradeStation scanner earlier. I don't know it off the top of my head. Now, what I'll look into at least is this. I mean, this stock is trading about 61 million shares total across the day today. Well, prior to today, this trade on a 50-day average trades 126,000 shares a day on average. So, that leads me to say the float is very, very, very small for as big of a squeeze up as you're seeing here, although it could still hold a higher low, and I'll still put it on our list for that potential reason. If it doesn't, then this thing's going to pull right back down. It wouldn't surprise me if this ends up, diving off, should that be the case. So you got to be careful on this MNOV trade. I gotta fix my scanner too. All right, so let's see what else we have here, though. Otherwise, the OCGN's a cheapie. I almost want to skip over that. If it looks really good, guys, just tell me otherwise. The SCKT, I know that the float was really low on this trade, at least. So going into the market open for a stock that's up as much as this was, made a pop, but if it ends up popping out of the gate, we know what's coming right away after. So ends up diving right back down. Never ended up finding a true support to bounce off of. Perhaps around this like 280ish, 270ish, it just flattened out at, but never really ended up gaining more steam. So continued to dump off. This is what I'm referring to here. So got to be careful on the MNOV just for the same reason as you're seeing SCKT. Mara we'll check in with. It's just doing nothing still at this point. Like Sogo. Jeez. I'm guessing this was a buyout at this point. I didn't see the news on this either. We traded this early in pre-market, but out of nowhere, we ended up seeing this just make a crazy pop prior to the market opening up. I mean, it just looks like a buyout the way it's trading. I think one of us was we're following this trade at least going into the next few days, but I'll take a quick look here. I mean, we're not going to trade it. I just want to make sure. Yep, $9 a share in cash. I'll at least copy and paste the news, but yeah, that's the case. Or at least Jeff says rumor of buyout. All right, well, we'll keep moving. Let's see, the SOHU trade. I think this is the company that bought them out. It says Sohu highlights receipt of its subsidiary, and its subsidiary is Sogo. So pretty interesting. This one looks at least somewhat remotely tradable, at least in a tighter range, but moving up and down to a degree. Yeah, right now, though, I mean, it's not really too much to write home about. This one could be. MFH, I was getting a little ping on Benzinga earlier, but it was really low volume at the time. Trading 1.2 million shares right now total across the day. It's like another low float, low volume runner. Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, it's near the highs, so that part I do like. Ooh, and I do like that. A 23,000 share order on the ESC just popped up at 375. I don't know if you guys see that right there on the TradeStation matrix. That's our iceberg, and 22,000 of that is routed through the ARCA, just so you know. All right, so at least for right now, MFH we'll put on our list, see if it ends up making the big run we're hoping for into the afternoon. This VTVT trade at least is a familiar name to myself, still kind of holding strong near the highs going into today. I don't know what news came out on this one, but at least for the meantime, we'll put this on our list. I feel like both of these trades, the MFH, the VTVT, if they don't end up making these big moves up higher into the close today, I would still keep it on your side list, at least going into tomorrow, going into the rest of the week. There's going to be a whole bunch of earnings coming out this week, guys, so it's going to be a lot to work with. There's going to be some stocks that get lost in the shuffle on your list, on our lists. So at least for the meantime, write these down for now. If they don't make a big move going into the close, the MFH, the VTVT at least, see what they're doing tomorrow morning. They could end up making the bigger, pop, the bigger day trade move going into tomorrow morning compared to this afternoon, perhaps. So, all right. This SWIR trade I've been getting pinged on all day too, just like nonstop new highs. Yeah, this thing's out of control. So, yeah, I mean, Sierra, the company name is Sierra Wireless. Ended up making a day-over-day pop. You'd figure at some point this thing's going to begin to pull back. I mean, huge red volume spike here, so maybe that'll begin it. If anything, it looks like it ended up making a pop to 13, a shakedown to 1290-ish, and held support. Now, obviously, a 50, 60 cent move in return after. So it doesn't seem like this thing's going anywhere just yet. Watch, it probably just jinxed it saying that. Yeah, SWIR, at least for right now, we'll put on our list. All right, guys. If there's any other familiar names, it looks like there's a crap ton of stocks that are up like 10, 12, 13+%. If there is anything that you guys see that's looking sharp, let me know, because if anything, we have like a really big list. I'll cut a couple of those that I already put on off. Gotta look to prioritize now at this point. This BKYI is a cheapie, but it's popping right now, new high. This is the only reason I clicked on this. It's a cheapie, but it's a familiar name. We traded the stock going back into March, but more so recently going into the last week or so on the run up. Dumped back down. So at least today, nice little squeeze here continuing and perhaps trying to fill the gap. I wouldn't mind adding this to our list. I'll come back to this at the very end. I do like Capra still. I wrote that down on the side. All right, so let's go from the gainers to the losers list. If there's anything else, guys, that's up like 10% plus, let me know. That's looking like really good. There's our C test, still on the top of the losers list. This IPD entry got smacked around. Huh. Same with WIMI. I think there was direct offering on that trade, just still dropping off, though, for the meantime. All right. This RNet trade, yeah, it's shortable, down 18%. So kind of like, inverse to seeing a stock near the highs of the day going into the close. Seeing this at the lows, it's shortable. It could present opportunity. So, technically it would like pass the tradable, not tradable test. But again, Monday will pass for right now. IBIO, if we were able to short this stock, this would have been one of the bigger winners. It's easy for me to say that, but this stock was down big in pre-market. This is one that we've been familiar with over the last couple of weeks. Just obviously looking on the daily chart. Same to be said, and I'll tell you, I don't know if I was going to get to this stock on the losers list because it was really making a nice run up going into the afternoon. I just thought of it right now. When I think IBIO, I think VXRT. So I had a couple of messages from students on this VXRT trade from earlier today. Popped shortly out of the gate at the market open. So nice squeeze to begin, but dived off shortly after. And for what it's worth, really nice range up, then down, then back up here going into the afternoon. My worst fear is that this stock is just exhausted at this point in the day. But I like the range. We're familiar with this trade. I'll put this on our list for right now, this VXRT. For as good of a job recovery that this stock had, I mean, again, I'd said, there's a chance this could just be in a tight range for the remainder of the day. But if this could re-break above resistance, above that, 1090-ish, 1085-ish, and run up to 11, perhaps we could have a new move. So at least for right now, VXRT. Don't get confused with VXRT and VTVT. That might sound silly to hear, but the more often you trade these symbols, you get like traders dyslexia. So I say that to you guys. Like I'm also kind of saying that to myself. Holy smokes, what happened? I mean, I could assume what happened, just looking at the gap up, but when did Caesars have a reverse split? Or when did they even announce it? Taking a look on Benzinga Pro right now, just on the side. Caesars reports earnings August 6th. Shares dropping just with Las Vegas gaming recovery, blah, blah, blah. I didn't see anything of late on this. Wow, that surprised me. All right, well, hell of a squeeze up on Caesars. I don't know if this is even a reverse split. July 15th. Oh, you know what? I got it here. I'm going to post it here in the chat board. So I appreciate you guys waiting on me here to get the news. Caesars and Eldorado Resorts elect to receive cash consideration for a merger. Wow, I didn't even know that. Again, we don't really trade the news, but you would have thought this would be on our scanners here with the gap up on the daily chart. I don't know if that took into effect the day that the merger took place. On the daily chart, looks like a huge gap up and obviously filling that gap right now, and it's shortable most importantly. So yeah, Caesars, we're definitely going to put on our list and right at the top. It's like a gold mine here. Look at this gap to fill. Are you kidding me? So yeah, I mean, you heard me get excited for a good reason here. All right, bunch of crap hard to borrow here otherwise. RRC tradable, but not doing too much. All right, guys. I think that just about does it. That was a really nice sneaky pick there with Caesars. That surprised me. Cool. Chuck says OPK high of the day. I've been calling that out earlier, and now making the higher high. Very nice, Chuck. So great heads up. I don't think I would have gotten to this. So yeah, OPK. Pat says, I don't see that large of a gap on my trade station. Interesting. Pat, are you on 9.5 or 10? I forget. Maybe it looks different on anyone else's screen. I don't know, but I mean, you guys see the same thing that I'm looking at, right? I'm not on like crazy pills or anything, right? All right. From Leda, she says, did you look at DraftKings? Yeah, I did not, but I will right now because that's a stock we're pretty familiar with. So nice squeeze up earlier. We had called this out, or I should say nice squeeze up just now. We had called this stock out a bit earlier today on the way down, dropping off pretty sharply. All right. Well, keep DraftKings in mind. I mean, we've had this in mind just, of course, with sports, re-emerging, but now with what's going on with baseball, I don't know if you guys are in tune with it all. I mean, it's like kind of a disaster. MLB, like Major League Baseball, there's like a team, Miami Marlins. The whole team is coronavirus now, and they don't know what to do. So like all the other sports leagues, like basketball, Major League Soccer, hockey, I believe, as well, the NHL, they have all these bubbles where they're like, keeping everybody safe. They're testing. MLB's testing, but they're having the team still fly nationally. It's crazy. I think Canada ended up restricting the Toronto Blue Jays from playing in Toronto. I think Toronto is now playing in like Buffalo. Pat's asking the whole team. Yeah, I think that they only have, and not to get into this, like go off course, but I think they only have like 10 players left on their active roster that don't have it. A baseball lineup's pretty big. Let's put it that way. Like a whole team. Yep. Well, I mean, either way, for potential reemergence of sports coming up in the next month or so, of course, with this news on MLB and potentially for the NFL, Ron's saying as well. Yeah, we're going to keep this in mind. And yeah, I mean, I like the pop Lita. So for right now, our list isn't too big. So I don't mind putting this on our list for right now. DraftKings. Looks like a big pop over 35, but kind of back down for right now. Let's take a look on the tape. 251, we saw that break. There's Prince at 35, but that's not what I'm looking for. Ooh, I'll tell you, it's kind of just a break here. Nothing really too big in terms of just like any larger dark pool prints or market prints. A lot in black, negotiated in between the bid and the ask. So seeing the time of these prints come in, this obviously was a very sharp move up and back down. So for what it's worth, yeah, this is already down to 34.87. I'm looking at the chart right now as we speak. So you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if this holds 35 and then continues to tail off. Be careful on this trade if you're long. It's still technically holding support off the last peak, but if 35 holds and this continues to break lower, this might be making a sharper move down here. Moving with the market perhaps too, so the Dow is pulling back down here a bit. Up. There you go. All right, well, either way, it's not hard to borrow, at least for TradeStation. We'll put this on our list for long or short, and more now, I think, for short. What else do we have here, guys? I think that will just about do it. If there's anything else that looks incredible, let me know. You got Giancarlo here, OCGN. Yeah, so I saw that on the gainers list. I was flipping through, and I did say, if this looks really good, let me know. I'll come back to it. It's not looking bad. It's still holding strong near the highs, albeit it did drop off just a bit here. We got a big list. That's the thing. So in this case, for like a cheapie, a penny stock like this, not like a bulletin board, we're just saying like a stock below $1. This is a stock listed on the NASDAQ. So, just with a cheapie like this, it normally doesn't make a second big move into the afternoon if it already made one from earlier, but it is still kind of holding near the highs. For right now, I want to see if there's anything over $1 looking a bit better, or at least looking just as good, perhaps. SKX on the way down, not down as much percent-wise, but near the lows. That I do appreciate. I'd kind of say in the same category there, though, just at the same time as OCGN, although this is well over $1. I think the volume traded per minute's kind of light for what we're looking for right now. Only about 3,300 shares per minute. Nice downtrend. Tight spread. All of that I do like. BHC. Nice pop. Tight spread. I don't know. This one's looking better. If I were to compare the two apples to oranges, I would choose this one, if anything, there. Chuck's saying the capper trade just popped. So you know what? If we're going to put any on the list, we're going to go right to capper here at this point. It was on our side list. I was going to check back in on this one. So Chuck with the assist, speaking of basketball there. So yeah, nice pop here. Good call. Got one more from YouTube here. What about Vivo? Too low volume. Only trading 198,000 shares across the total day. For what we normally scan for, that's not nearly enough at this point. I like the trend. It's near the highs. It's up, pretty big. Intel low of the day. Good side list stock from Pat. Probably the same with AMD. AMD is trending down, not nearly at the lows, but tradable to a good degree. Micron, all the semiconductors moving pretty sharply, it seems like. All right, guys, so time's almost 3 o'clock. I think we're good to go. In total, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Almost a full house, at least, not too big. All right, so I'll post and tweet these out to you guys right now across the board, live in Facebook and YouTube, and of course here in the Cyber Group room. For anyone on social media, if you guys would like to learn more about Cyber Trading University, what we're offering, especially tomorrow live in the trading room, that's our live workshop, Traders Talk. Make sure that you guys call the phone number down below on the banner. One of our education advisors will pick up, just provide more detail. For all of us here live in the trading room, well, I'll tell you, I was going to say going into this meeting, it's kind of like a Monday. Not a whole lot going on. The Dow is beginning to slip. Might have a few shorts on our hands. And then otherwise, with all of our stocks on our afternoon list here going into the close, we might have a really good chance to do just as good, if not better, this afternoon compared to the open. We did pretty good this morning. All right, guys, I'll talk to you guys coming up here in just a moment. Take care.